Hey everyone, author Stephanie Welch here again. It's been a little while since I did a book review. Things have been absolutely insane in my personal life. But just going to jump right into it. We are going to talk about this next book that I wanted to do my first review on, but I realized that I might be a little vicious on this one, so I didn't want to start off with it. So jumping right in. Kerri Maniscalco, Kingdom of the Wicked. All right. First off, let me start with all of this by saying I read Kerri Maniscalco's first series, Stalking Jack the Ripper. I actually listened to it when it first came out a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed listening to it. I thought it was very well thought out. I liked the characters. Couple things the characters would do didn't really seem very in tune with who they were supposed to be, but overall it worked out, so I liked that series. So when I saw this one had come out, I was very excited. I was like, oh, Kerri Maniscalco, here we go. And I did not realize first time around that this was going to be a series. I thought it was going to be a standalone. And then as I was nearing the end of the book, I'm sitting there going, this is going to be a series, isn't it? And I am one of those people, I hate reading a series that's not at least halfway done when I start it, because I hate waiting. I hate the waiting game so much. Like I didn't even start watching Outlander until the end of the third season. Little to my knowledge, there was going to be that many seasons. I did not realize it was such a big series. So starting off with Kerri Maniscalco, it is a new series, and then this came out last year in the fall. I'm looking at my notes, sorry, because I have a lot to say about this book. And the next one doesn't come out until fall of 2021, so fall of this year. There is a specific month release date now. I'm not exactly sure when it is, but I do know it is fall of 2021. So first and foremost, I do want to start off by saying overall, I'm going to read the next one. Overall, I do find endearing parts to this story. You're going to question that by the time I'm done with my review. But I will say that I would read this again. I am going to read the next one. I'm going to continue to read Kerri Maniscalco because I do like her. First, I want to start with, I love this cover. You can kind of tell, but it does shimmer a little bit. I like the idea of this cover. I like the skull. I like the little bit of lavender in with like the snake. I like the little bit of lavender. It is a really attractive cover. And the back is really interesting. It's just an excerpt. And then the actual like book cover thing is here. I do like that there is a really pretty piece of art on the inside of it. I'm a huge fan of art inside of a book like that. Whether it's a map or whether it's just a really nice piece of art depicting something going on in the book. I've always enjoyed that, and I do appreciate that she put that in here because I feel like it does bring something to the book. However, the piece of art that is in here really does not have much to do with this first book. I believe it has more to do with the next book. But it is a James Patterson present, so it comes from the world of James Patterson, as was her Stalking Jack the Ripper series. But overall, I like the aesthetic to this book. It is exactly 372 pages. So it's a good, nice read. I wouldn't quite call it a beach read. It is a little bit heavier than that, but good, solid, nice size, not too big, not too small. So jumping into a couple of my problems with this book. Some of my critiques, if you will. First and foremost, I read this twice, okay? Because the first time I read through it, I was like, there's no way I'm missing this. I'm not exactly sure when this book takes place. I know where it takes place. It takes place in Sicily. We make this clear over and over again. She makes it clear that they're in Sicily. There's stuff going on in the mainland in Italy. makes it very clear that this is Sicily. Not exactly sure where in Sicily. I'm not that familiar with Sicily, but the biggest problem is I don't exactly know when this book takes place. There is a mention of people going to America, so it's obviously not medieval. But just the way she describes some of the clothing, and me not knowing much about that history of Sicily, the history of Sicily, I'm really not sure when this book is taking place. There's no real mention of technology, but I don't know. Something about the book makes you feel like it's modern. Something doesn't make you feel like it's modern. It's really confusing on when this book takes place. And I feel if I knew more about when this book took place, I would understand the interactions the characters have. Because, people in one era don't interact the same way that people in the modern era do. We don't say certain things to certain people, or we're much more familiar here in the modern era with each other, even strangers we've met, than they would have in previous history. So I really feel like that would have helped the reader quite a bit understand Emelia's interaction with other characters. So the main character is a girl named Emelia. And it does also center around her sister, Vittoria, and it's Vittoria, V-I-T-T, not Victoria, Vittoria. So, again, not really sure what era this is taking place in, so I don't really know how common these names are at that time. The other problem I have with this book is, and I'm gonna say it's a spoiler alert, but it's not really, because it's kind of the whole premise of the book. Her sister dies and is horribly, horribly, viciously murdered early on in the book, like literally within the first 2 or 3 chapters. But the problem is, I don't exactly know or care that her sister's dead. I know it's her twin. And she, Emelia, the author, talks, through Emelia's perspective of their relationship together. But I don't feel, that, she's mentioning that they're starting to pull away and to be different people, which is normal for twins. But I don't really care that her sister dies. I'm going to call her V, because I don't have a hard time saying the name Victoria. Because I want to say Victoria really bad. So I don't really care that V dies. Honestly, I feel more sorry for Emelia than I do that Vittoria is actually dead. So I really feel like the author could have done much better at making me care that V was dead. She could have spent a lot more time developing their relationship together. So that was kind of a break point for me. The other thing is, I've written about witches. My book series is witches, and I very specifically early on picked a type of witchcraft and, decided for paganistic elemental witchcraft in my books. In this one, it also has to deal with witchcraft, but I can't quite tell what kind of witchcraft it is. To me, it seems more of a Judeo-Christian religion-based witchcraft, because they talk about demons and how the demons of hell are really bad entities and we can't ever summon them, and we can't summon them. We can't summon them. And then Emelia goes and is like, Elwood's like, what? Like, it's hard. And again, not a spoiler alert. It's literally in here that she does it. So I can't really tell what kind of the magic setup it is. To me, it seems a little bit kitchen witchy, a little bit pagan, but a little bit Judeo-Christian religious witchy. It was just hard for me to pinpoint. It was kind of all over the place, and I never fully understood kind of the setup or the type of witchcraft it is, which was a little difficult for me because, as a writer of also a witchcraft type of book, I was very specific on what type, and I made very sure that the readers understood it. So that was a little difficult for me to read, because I was just like, I can't really tell what's going on here. I feel like we get a lot more answer to that in the next book. Again, which is another reason I'm kind of mad at myself that I read this one before the second one was done. Because I feel like you get a lot more answers in the second book. It kind of like gets set up to say, hey, there's more answers in the next one. There is a lot of religion in this book. One of Emelia's closest friends is a monk. But I can't tell if her family is religious or not. If they go to mass or anything like that, I can't really tell. With how closely connected the community seems to religion, you'd think they would be, at least some, but I can't really tell. Is the witchcraft based in religion? Again, it was a really big question for me. I'm just not understanding their type of witchcraft. I will go ahead and say Emelia, I shouldn't say Emelia because Emelia is my character. Emelia is not my favorite main character in the world. She kind of makes a lot of stupid decisions. And I mean, I know everybody does. I know everybody makes dumb decisions in life, and that's normal, and that's part of growing up. And even in writing, you let your character make some dumb decisions sometimes because they have to develop, they have to grow, they have to learn from them. Wonderful. But I just don't think Emelia's the smartest character in the book. I don't know. She seems really weak, really wishy-washy. And then all of a sudden, you've got this weak, really wishy-washy, I can't do for myself. Everybody needs to help me. I'm so lost. I'm drowning in my world. I'm drowning. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, at the very last chapter, she's like, boom, I'm going to take this on and grow and be this person like my sister would have been. And you're sitting there going, I just don't, I'm not getting it, kind of a thing. I just didn't understand her huge jump in the last chapter or two, from who she was to what she's about to enter into the second book. Because the character that she is for the majority of this book doesn't really make sense for what's going to happen in the next one. It doesn't make sense at all for me. She just doesn't seem like someone who would, become that person. Which, I know we all enjoy reading a good book of where somebody develops into the person they need to be instead of the person they should have been. I get that. This was just a really big jump. I didn't really see a lot of growth into it. It was more of just a boom. And you're just like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. The other main character in this book, his name is Wrath. And he is the demon of wrath. And she just calls him Wrath. Okay, great. Your name is Wrath. You're the demon of wrath. You should be wrathful. He's not. At all. His other brothers, greed, envy, pride, lust, all of them exemplify greed, pride, envy, and lust. She even gets around them and she starts feeling greedy, or she gets around lust and she feels lustful. She gets around pride and she gets a hot head about herself because they exude this type of, sin, if you will. But when she's around wrath, that doesn't really happen. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Honestly, her character development would have made sense more if she had been showing some of those wrathful qualities throughout the entire book and it had grown. But it doesn't. And so, again, with her character development, I'm a little confused. With actual Wrath, he's actually very merciful. And I'm just sitting there going, no, this doesn't make sense for me. So again, I didn't hate the book. Again, do not take any of this as I hate the book. You should absolutely read it and make your own decision for yourself. But this is just my critique of the book. And frankly, I'm a little confused with the character developments. I did read a couple other reviews, handwritten reviews, and one person really kind of tore apart Kerri Maniscalco's use of Sicily, and also the food in the book. Tore it apart. And I know nothing about Sicilian history and food types, so I can't comment on it. But that was just one thing that kind of opened my eyes of, oh, okay. Kerri is apparently supposed to be Italian or Sicilian. I can't quite tell. She says it somewhere in this book in her about the author. So again, I was really confused as to if other people were finding these kind of things, what else was I missing? So again, I think a lot of that would be answered if I understood the time period better. But I mean, overall, I love the character of Nana. I love Nana because she's very, she doesn't take anything. You get at the end of the day that she actually knows what's going on, even though, Emelia doesn't want to tell her what's going on ever. But I mean, it is a good read. I did enjoy reading it. I didn't want to put it down. It took me straight through probably about 8 hours to read, maybe. And that's with a couple breaks because, I've got kids and a life who are interrupting me. So overall, still an enjoyable read. Just some pieces that I really, really hope get answered in the second book. And if they are, I will come back on. I will give another review and I will say I was completely wrong. Everything got answered in the second book. But me personally as a reader, I don't like this many questions or concerns in only just the first book, if you know what I mean. So the next one is Kingdom of the Cursed. And again, it comes out in the fall. I am going to get it. I am going to read it. And I am excited about it. I would have to say, though, my favorite character overall has to be Wrath. I enjoy him so much more because there is a lot of depth to him. And I think he's holding a lot back. And I'm really excited to see kind of what his explanations for everything are. And there is a little bit of wordage trickiness here at the end of this book. There's a little bit of wordage trickiness. So when you summon a demon, you basically sign a contract with them. And so she summons Wrath and has a contract with him. And then she gets a contract with another demon. Trying not to spoil anything. So I'm really excited to see how these two dueling contracts play out in the second book. I think that's probably going to be the most interesting thing for me is figuring out how these dueling contracts figure out, because I'm one of those people, I'm really, really word picky, especially when I write. I like certain things mean certain things, and they always come back and bite you later in the butt. So I'm really excited to see how that works out. I'm also really excited to see the inner workings of hell, because this whole book is placed in the human realm, and the whole second book is going to be in the realm of hell. And so I'm really, really excited to see how that works out, because when you look at the map, and I'll show you a little more in depth of the map. When you look at the map, it is of hell. So the whole second book is going to be in hell. So I'm really excited to see how all this works out, because she has very specific stuff on here, like the Black River and the Lake of Fire. The Lake of Fire is in between House Wrath and House Pride. Okay, does that actually come into play? All these landmarks that she's put in there. I'm excited to see how they play out. I really would like to see Emelia work in every single one of the houses. I want to see her do something in every single one, kind of a thing. I want to see how this works. I want to see how they interchange together, how they move between them, the protocols of this world. What is this like being in hell with the 7 demons of hell that? And I think that's what I'm most excited about, is getting to read about something that is very Dante-esque without being Dante, like a modern romance Dante. I'm really excited to see that, and I think it's going to be really cool. Because again, I've read Kerri's other writings, and I liked them. So I'm kind of excited to see what she does with that. I'm really looking forward to that. But that is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. Like I said, she has another series that is completed, and it even has, it's 3 books, and then it even has a half in between book between the second and third from a different character's perspective, that I think is really interesting as well. So give it a chance, give it a shout out. I got this one at Books A Million, and I got it for $18.99. You can also get it on Amazon. Again, Kingdom of the Wicked, really good read. I just had a couple things, not exactly plot holes. I will say that, not exactly plot holes. And I think that's why I want to continue to read it, is because there isn't any plot holes. There's some development issues that I hope are fixed. And I would expect them to be fixed from Kerri Maniscalco. She's pretty good at that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'd give it a B plus. Give it a B plus. And when the second one comes out, I will let you know. I will read it and I will give you my own personal review of that one. Before we go, last shout out, Stones of Destiny. I had to get my own book. Stones of Destiny by Stephanie Welch is out on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. The second book, Chains of Darkness, is finishing up at the editor now, and we're hoping to have a release date on that here within the next couple weeks. So be looking out for that. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And thank you guys very much. Y'all have a great night. Bye.